continue on with looking at Arab civilization and how it has affected our civilization. We're going to do this a different way today. Here are some main ideas from the article. You don't have to get all of this down. No, we're not into the notes yet with this, but notice these are some of the main ideas from the articles. You'll see when we get into the notes in a moment. Arabs are in the United States, and you might not know who they are. There are lots of Arabs in the United States, but they normally don't say, hey, look, I'm an Arab. Remember I told you about one in our school? Remember, Mrs. Stauffer? She doesn't speak Arabic, no, because her grandparents came. Arabs have made contributions to science and to math, our numbering systems, algebra, chemistry, contributions to medicine. They were performing eye surgeries when people in the Middle Ages thought that illnesses were caused by you doing bad things. Oh, you're sick. You must have offended God. Arabs made contributions to agriculture, learning how to splice two plants together to get something new, like changing the color of grapes, like the article talked about. They knew about geography. When everybody thought the world was flat, the Arabs knew that it was round. Columbus didn't discover anything that the Arabs didn't know. The Arabs knew the world was round and wrote about it even in 800. Columbus didn't do it until 1492. Where do you think Columbus got the idea that the world was round? Yeah, he read about it from the Arabs. It wasn't something that he just miraculously came up with. Arab culture unites many different people. If you look at all those Arab countries that are on your map, those countries might have a similar culture, Arab culture, but each region is different. Just like, is everybody in the South, do they act or sound or think the same way as the people in the North in the U.S.? No. We might be united by a common country, might be united by a common language, but we do have differences, just like the Arab world is. Basically, the idea that the Arab world has given us a lot, that was the main idea from the article, like many of you pointed out. Arab civilization has given us a lot. And so now we're going to get into some notes. But they're not going to be copied down word for word from the screen. It's going to be, you get some of the main ideas down. You have to judge what the main ideas are. Because it's not going to be a normal PowerPoint type of presentation. We're going to go through it by doing things up on the board. We're going to do things by going around, let me make it bigger, and having people come up to the board to do things. And we're just going to go around the room. This is sort of like a little quiz, which we'll have a quiz tomorrow, but it's also seeing where things belong up here. If it's something that you know, you don't have to write it down. If it's something that you don't know, you might want to jot something down. So we're going to start on this side of the room and work our way through the room doing things like this. So Alex, come on up. Choose one of these things and put it in the right column, either Arab or Muslim. Yes, Arabs can be Christian, they can be Jews. That is correct. Arabs can choose any religion they want. Next. Being Arab is based on blood, genetics, just like in science class. Good. This, in and of itself, is a review from last week's notes. Muslims belong to a religious group. That's correct. Victor, you're up. That is correct. Iran, Turkey, Afghanistan, they are not Arab countries. They have different ethnic groups there. Okay. Arabs are a member of an ethnic group, just like Germans or French people or Swedes or Japanese. Muslims can be found in ME. What would ME stand for? Middle East. What about NA? North Africa and Southeast Asia. Yes. And all the other thing that you could include in that is the what? What? The stans, yes. Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, etc. Good. Let's see what's up next. Here are some words that we get from Arabs. You don't have to write all these down, but some of them might be good to have, and some of them might be surprising to you. They're magically going to appear from the magic book. The word admiral. Anybody know what an admiral is? What's an admiral? Like a general. It's like a general, but where? The Navy. Yes, water. Like a general for the Navy. Mocha. What's mocha? What is mocha? Chocolate coffee. It's actually named after a city in the Middle East called Mocha. Mocha. Alcohol. You all know what alcohol is. It is an Arabic word. Alcohol. The beginning part, A-L, that's Arabic for the. Alcohol. How many people here have a mattress at home? Mattress. The word mattress comes from the Middle East. Matras. Cable. The word cable. The spinning together of multiple wires. Not necessarily cable TV, but the actual cable. The thing is an Arab, comes from Arabic. Candy. Kandi. Kandi is an Arabic word. Think about what your lives would be like without kandi. Who knows? You might have to use the German word for candy because our language is based mostly on German. Candy is a lot easier to say than the German word. Süßigkeiten. Süßigkeiten literally means sweet things. Süßigkeiten. Check. When you write a check, comes from Arabic, the word. Magazine. Those of you that read magazines, that's primarily where it comes from. Magazine, like, is used in goods. It's for storing things. The original word, or the original idea behind magazine is that it was a place for storing things. Ladies, mascara is an Arab thing. Colin, you love mascara. You are not. It is now recorded for the webpage that you love mascara. Canal is another one, and those are all the words we're going to go through. Again, you don't need to know all these words, but be familiar with some of them, so that if I ask you what are some words we get from Arabs, boom, you can tell me. Contributions to science. Optics. They gave us optics, the study of how light works. When Europe was in the Dark Ages, they were studying mathematics and how light is refracted and bounces off things. That's the study of how light works is optics. They were doing eye surgeries. People didn't start doing eye surgeries in the West until the 20th century, basically. Chemistry, knowing how to take chemicals and put them together and make new things. Algebra, algebra. A plus B equals C, or 30x equals 90. Solve for x. That's all algebra or algebra. The zero in Roman and Arabic numerals, our numbering system. You had an assignment that dealt with that already. We get those from the Arabs. Imagine doing math with no zero, with no decimal points, with only Roman numerals. Your math assignments would take much longer than they do today. And they knew that the earth was round. There was a guy that even wrote a book in the 800s. The earth is round. People in Europe didn't believe it until 1492, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue and Spain kicked out the last Muslim and Jew. I know it rhymes because that's the point. 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue and Spain kicked out the last Muslim and Jew. If you would not become a Christian in Spain in 1492, you were either killed or you ran for your life. You were tortured until you became a Christian. During the Dark and Middle Ages in Europe, Europe versus the Middle East. Where did we leave off? See if you can figure out where to put some of these. For example, I'll go through these at the bottom. If you're sick, you'd go to church for treatment. If you're sick, you'd go to a hospital. If you stink, that's a good sign. That's healthy. Sanitation is good. Being clean is good. If you're sick, one way to cure you of all your illnesses is by using leeches and bleeding, cutting your skin and letting the blood run out because your blood has illnesses in it. Because you have bad blood, we got to get rid of the bad blood. Having complex surgery. Witches cause illnesses, so if you're sick, you must be cursed by a witch. Or diseases cause illness. Which one belongs in Europe? Which belongs in the Middle East? Complex surgeries in the Middle East, yes. Eye surgeries. Yes, in Europe, if you were sick during the Middle Ages, Dark Ages, you did not go to a hospital, you went to church and they prayed for you. And you would get better. Oh, Europe did not think sanitation was very good. They said that if you were too clean, that was unhealthy. In Europe, they said, oh, you're sick. There must be a witch that cursed you. Let's find that witch. Europe, the stinkier you were, the better. And that even went up through the 1800s. Body odor was good. You took a bath, even in the United States. You took a bath maybe once a year. When Europeans, please hold on one second. When Europeans went to other countries, like to Japan in the 1700s and the Middle East, they had BO for built up for a year. Remember, they didn't have deodorant, they didn't have antiperspirant, they did not have air conditioning, they did not wash their clothes very often. You can imagine what people in China and Japan who bathed constantly, people in the Middle East who bathed constantly, you can imagine what they thought of these Europeans. Did they think that they were very smart? No. And when those people were telling him, you need to take a bath, like, that's unhealthy. Stink keeps disease away. They thought that. Wouldn't you like to live back then? No, not. Okay, moving on to the next one. Yep. Sanitation is good. Actually, part of Islam. Cleaning is part of Islam. Muslims, when they go to church, or their church, what is their church called? What is a Muslim church called? What is the holy building called? You need to know this. Yes. Nope. Allah is God. Allah is the word for God. The building is a mosque. When you go to mosque, you have to you go up to a fountain, you wash your hands, you wash your feet, you wash your face. It's part of the religion to wash. It's not part of the religion to be stinky. Okay, next. Yeah, you'd go to a hospital if you were sick in the Middle East. Way before they had hospitals in Europe. Yes, in Europe. Oh, you're sick. Was anybody sick this year? Anybody been sick this year? If you were sick, they would take you and they would put leeches on you to suck out your bad blood. Or if that didn't work, they would cut you open and let your blood run out so that you'd get rid of the bad blood. Most people that got really sick got even sicker from that happening. But they said, oh, you must have been cursed. And in the Middle East, they said diseases caused illnesses. They knew that diseases caused illnesses, and they knew that you needed your blood, that you shouldn't just throw it away. Today, some of these things are pretty funny to think about. Which is causing illnesses? Stinking is good. Judging by the people that wear Axe. Axe in and of itself stinks. It might keep away body odor, but it stinks in another way. Europeans weren't very smart back in the Middle Ages, were they? In the Middle East, they were very smart. Here are some things we got from the Middle East. Things that we didn't have before. Coffee. Anybody here drink coffee? You shouldn't. You shouldn't. It's not good for you at your age. Pepper. Pepper was something that was very important. And Europe didn't have pepper until like the 1200s, 1300s. And they needed the pepper because they didn't have refrigerators. What happens to food if you don't refrigerate it? It gets rotten. So they needed pepper to change the taste of the food, the rotten food. Europeans ate rotten food all the time. You needed to have spices to cover that disgusting flavor. Pepper was really important when they discovered that. Citrus fruit came from the Middle East. We didn't have lemons or oranges or anything like that until we got it from the Arabs. The idea of Aladdin, the Disney Aladdin. Aladdin with magic lamp and everything like that. That whole story in that is actually based on a guy. His name was Saladin. He was a famous Arab warrior that fought in the Crusades. Nate, your head needs to be up. Sinbad. Anybody ever hear of Sinbad the Sailor? That's some Arab story. Sinbad the comedian steals his name from them. String instruments. Anybody hear an orchestra? Or play the guitar? Those are all Middle Eastern things. Those are Middle Eastern instruments. Cosmetics, ladies, makeup. It's a Middle East invention. Gentlemen, makeup, if you wear it. Middle East invention. Cotton, most of your clothing is cotton thanks to the Middle East. Jeans are cotton. Denim is made from cotton. Our alphabet. We got the alphabet from the Middle East. Now, when we look at the Arabic alphabet later on this week, you're not going to notice it as much, but our alphabet does come from the Middle East. Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, open sesame. That's a Middle Eastern thing. It is. It is. Our concept of paradise and hell. Paradise, something lush, green, with lots of flowing water. Hell, being hot, dry, and having a lot of fire. Think about it. In the Middle East, what is it like? Is it left or is it right? Right. It's hot, it's dry, and so they said, hell is like what's the life we have now because it's so hard. That paradise, heaven, is going to be what we dream of. Lots of green vegetation, lots of flowing water. We get our concept of heaven and hell from the Middle East. And some famous Arab Americans, or Arabs in the United States. Monk, Tony Shalhoub, also from Men in Black. Shakira, whose father is from Lebanon. She is from Colombia. Many of her songs are a mixture of Arabic and Western music. Yes, Salma Hayek. Allah Abdul. Abdul is an Arabic name. Some others, Steve Jobs, been fun. Ladies and gentlemen, quiz tomorrow. Akon, Jamie Farr, Casey Kasem. Okay, I just need the back page and make sure your name is and hours on that one.
Will I put the duration or the...
I will take it right now. Just put your name on that one, okay?